I'm Eric Novak. Please stick around and join me as we take a look at this latest travel review on the remarkable story of transformation that is happening right here in Vietnam. Getting to Vietnam from North America is not easy. At present, only Vietnam Airways, the country's largest carrier, offers non-stop flights to North America with service to San Francisco, which is approximately a 15-hour flight. The airline is, however, part of the SkyTeam Airline Alliance, which includes Delta Airlines. Our Discovery Tour involved a charter from San Francisco via Asiana Airlines and included a stop and aircraft transfer in Seoul, Korea. Vietnam is, however, served by several other international carriers who fly to North America, but I would advise working with a travel agent to determine the best route and airlines to use. Vietnam is a country with a history that traces back thousands of years, but is largely unknown, or even worse, misunderstood here in North America. The country is officially known as the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, which is the name it took on following the reunification of the North and South in 1976 in the aftermath of the Vietnam War. With a current population of just under 99 million people, Vietnam is the world's 16th most populous nation. Its total landmass of 331,699 square kilometers makes it the 66th largest country in the world. In 1986, a new wave of leadership took control of the Centralist Party and introduced reforms that transformed the country's economy from a planned economy to a socialist-oriented market economy. Known as Dui Moi, the government encouraged private ownership of farms and factories, economic deregulation, and foreign investment while maintaining control over strategic industries. In the 35 years since, these economic reforms, coupled with beneficial global trends, have helped propel Vietnam from being one of the world's poorest nations to a middle-income economy in one generation. And its economy has been on a blistering pace. Since 2000, Vietnam's annual economic growth rate has averaged 6.27%, which makes it one of the fastest-growing economies in the Asia-Pacific region. It now ranks as the 38th largest economy in the world as measured by gross domestic product. Leading Vietnam's economic ascension is the Vingroup, which is the country's largest conglomerate and is responsible for approximately 2% of national GDP. With interests in real estate, hospitality, manufacturing, and transportation, among others, its influence on and responsibility for the rapid growth of Vietnam's economy is synonymous and intertwined. Vingroup was founded by Pham Nhat Vuong and remains its chairman. He is recognized as Vietnam's first billionaire and one of the richest men in Southeast Asia. My visit to Vietnam was arranged by the Vingroup and was part of their Discovery Tour series. I joined approximately 100 other journalists and influencers in mid-September on a 5-day, 4-night tour of the country. It was the third and final such Discovery Tour to take place in 2022. My main interest was to visit Vinfast, a Vietnamese automaker owned by Vingroup that is launching a lineup of battery electric-only vehicles which will begin delivering EVs to North America starting in early 2023. But I was also intrigued to participate in the entire program, given my interest and work in the fields of climate change and sustainability, and how I teach sustainable urban development and green communications as a part-time professor at Seneca College in Toronto. Our Discovery Tour began in the northern part of the country. From Seoul, our last travel leg was a 4-hour flight to Van Don International Airport, the country's first privately built airport, which opened in 2018. It was built to provide a more convenient entry point to Ha Long Bay, located about 50 kilometers away. Ha Long is a coastal city in northern Vietnam with a population of about 300,000. It's also a jumping-off point for Ha Long Bay, a broad inlet of dramatic, often mist-covered limestone islands.
So on this video, we're going to take a look at Vietnam, and we're going to be guests of Vinpearl. We're going to stay actually at 3 hotel properties in total, one of them not being a Vinpearl Resort. But the first one we're staying at is here in Ha Long Bay, which is just outside of Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. This is the Vinpearl Ha Long Bay Resort. And you know what? As far as first impressions go, this thing is a real eye-catcher.
Inspired by the historic castle chateaux of France, the Vinpearl Ha Long Bay is a full-service resort with 3 private beaches, a 1,200 square meter outdoor pool, green spaces, tennis courts, spa facilities, restaurants, and more. Its 384 staterooms offer European-inspired furnishings and decor, many with ocean views and full balconies. The resort exists on its own island, which is accessible only by a 5-minute water shuttle ride across the bay.
The Ha Long area just outside of Hanoi has typically been known for its natural resources and mining. There's a lot of coal in the area, but tourism is becoming increasingly important. This Vinpearl Resort at Ha Long Bay was first established and built in 2015, and since then, it's been a real influx of luxury resorts, or resorts catering more to a Western, European, even North American audience. And we're seeing quite a big momentum shift to where now tourism in this area is probably the main driver of the economy.
Ha Long Bay covers an area of 43,400 hectares and includes over 1,600 islands and islets, most of which are uninhabited and unaffected by humans, and has been identified as one of the world's new 7 wonders of nature.
We're on an evening cruise in Ha Long Bay, and the highlight has been what we see behind us. These gorgeous, hundreds of them, limestone juxtapositions. They're coming out in these formations. They're absolutely spectacular. We're told this is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and as such, you're not allowed to go on them, and I don't know how you could anyway. They're pretty sheer. Not that you want a rock face, but it certainly makes for a lovely evening in Ha Long Bay.
After a night at Vinpearl Ha Long Bay, we headed to the city of Haiphong, about 50 kilometers away, and it's where the headquarters and manufacturing facilities of Vinfast are located. Vinfast, a division of the Vingroup, is a manufacturer of battery electric vehicles. Established only in 2017, Vinfast initially manufactured gas-powered vehicles for the domestic market. But according to Vinfast executives, the company's intention was always to transition exclusively to the production of battery electric vehicles, scooters, and buses. Quickly entrenched as the #1 selling automaker domestically, Vinfast is set to take its line of up to 5 different EV models to North America and Europe in 2023, beginning with the mid-sized VF8 crossover. The vehicles are produced at a massive closed-loop 828-acre manufacturing complex, which includes a press shop, body shop, paint shop, general assembly and battery assembly plants, and corporate headquarters.
This is the battery. This is the source of energy. Once upon a time, if I'm looking at an automotive plant, I might be looking at the engine shop. No, this is the source. This is where batteries are manufactured. It's in-house. Vinfast has their own capacity to manufacture batteries and transfer it on-site on their campus. So it's really impressive stuff right behind me. And that's the batteries, the cells that go into the packs, which then go into the overall general assembly, stuck underneath the frame, the vehicle. It's pretty cool.
The entire facility was built in just 21 months, a remarkable feat that is about 50% faster than normal. It worked with automotive partners as well as German tech giant Siemens to create a highly advanced and automated facility which they hope to use as a competitive advantage. Production output is set to be up to 250,000 vehicles annually. The plant also includes an electric scooter manufacturing facility that also produces up to 250,000 units annually, as well as a production line for electric buses, capable of producing 3,000 units per year. Vinfast says the plant is scalable, and as a result, they plan to increase production capacity as demand warrants. They are also building a similar facility in North Carolina to establish a North American manufacturing presence as well, although only vehicles are scheduled for production there at this time. Vinfast is located about 2 hours from Hanoi, which is where we would spend our second night. Hanoi is the capital of Vietnam, and with a population of about 6.5 million people, is the country's second largest city after Ho Chi Minh City. Hanoi is a major tourism destination with a unique combination of Eastern and Western cultures. Its Western influence can be attributed to Hanoi being the capital of French Indochina from 1902 to 1954. It is consistently ranked among the world's top 10 destinations by TripAdvisor and welcomed almost 19 million visitors in 2022. The French colonial influence is most prominent in the area of the city known as the Old Quarter. The area, which is also known as the 36 Streets, used to be the residential, manufacturing, and commercial center where each street was specialized in one specific type of manufacturing or commerce. Today, it is home to a vibrant mix of culture, commerce, and cuisine, and perhaps the best way to experience its true frenetic and vibrant atmosphere is by hopping onto one of their famous cyclo tours, which I had the chance to do, and I absolutely loved the experience. There's just a vitality here that thrives in a chaotic way, but it's fantastic. I should be afraid, but actually I'm not, because it just seems to work. But here comes someone right at me, and there we go. There he goes. He almost hit us. Street vendor. Picking up the speed here. The Old Quarter is also where a majority of Western-oriented hotels are located, including the Sofitel Legend Metropole Hanoi, an award-winning 364-room hotel that was our home for the night. The hotel blends a heritage colonial style with neoclassical luxury and some modern touches thrown in. After a long day of discovery, my well-appointed room was a perfect respite for some quiet time and a great night's sleep. As mentioned earlier, the Vingroup operates as a multi-sector conglomerate and is the largest corporation in Vietnam. Through their diverse portfolio, there exists the ability to create an entire ecosystem that seamlessly integrates together. Examples of this are evident across the massive urban park developments, which are built by the Vingroup's Vinhomes division. On day 3, we visited Ocean Park in Hanoi, one of 48 urban parks built by Vinhomes across Vietnam. Ocean Park is being built over 2 phases, and when complete, Ocean Park 1 and 2 will cover more than 1,000 hectares in size. Within the already completed first phase, there exists 43,500 high-rise and 3,800 low-rise residential units. There is also the Vincom Mega Mall and Technopark Office Tower, a Vinmec International Hospital. There's schooling from kindergarten to grade 12, and perhaps its signature element, the first ever Vin University. Built using strategic collaborations with both Cornell University and the University of Pennsylvania, Vin University is a non-for-profit private university established by Vingroup and had their inaugural convocation ceremony in October 2020. Ocean Park is said to be inspired by developments in Singapore and includes many European design influences as well. While driving around by bus, I also took particular notice of the multitude of on-street Level 2 and electric scooter fast chargers, presumably for the litany of Vinfast EVs and scooters that residents of the community will be driving. What is also particularly notable is that the entire Ocean Park first phase was built in less than 3 years. It's a timeline that's almost impossible anywhere in North America. Ocean Park 2 will be built across the highway from the first phase and has already begun construction. We toured a completed signature component of Ocean Park 2, which is the Royal Wave Park, the world's largest artificial sea park complex covering more than 18 hectares.
There's a whole ecosystem with the Vingroup. They're building entire communities, much in the sustainable concept, and it includes everything. The pace and aggressiveness of the construction. They're building entire communities in 3 years, housing thousands of people, universities, and amusement parks, water parks. This is part of an entire new concept of living in Vietnam that's part of this overall restructuring of what Vingroup has in mind. It's absolutely mind-blowing. That's all I can say. I mean, what we're seeing here, oh, here we got a wave pool coming up. And yet all around, the community is still under construction. But what we saw in the first development, the first ecosystem, that took 2-3 years, and they'll do that even faster, they say, with this second one. Just unreal.
Following our ecosystem tour, we were off to Hanoi's Noi Bai International Airport, where we boarded a charter flight for a 2-hour trip south to Cam Ranh International Airport, which serves the city of Nha Trang. Sometimes identified as the Riviera of southern Vietnam, Nha Trang is a coastal city of approximately 500,000 people and is best known as a seaside holiday destination. The Nha Trang area, which welcomed 6.8 million visitors in 2019, includes a wide array of luxury resorts that continues to grow and expand, something that was quite evident on our approximately 1-hour drive along the coastline from Cam Ranh Airport, as several new resorts appear to be under construction. Nha Trang is also the launch point to Hon Tre Island and Vinpearl Nha Trang, which is where we would spend our final 2 nights on this Vietnam Discovery Tour. Vinpearl Nha Trang is the first major development project undertaken by Vingroup and remains one of its signature properties. It's essentially an all-inclusive resort with multiple attractions available on site. North Americans could compare it to Walt Disney World, although locals would see Singapore's Sentosa Island as a more appropriate comparable. It remains the leading hotel and resort complex in Vietnam. Access to the island can be done either by speedboat shuttle or by its famous 3,320-meter cable car. It's an option that's popular for day trippers especially. On my visit in mid-September, though, the cable car was out of service as it was undergoing maintenance. There are 3 Vinpearl hotel properties on Hon Tre Island, with each catering to a slightly different clientele and experience. I would be staying at the 528-room Vinpearl Resort Nha Trang, which is the original property on the island. It's a sprawling property with 7 restaurants and dining options, outdoor pools, and private beach access. Rooms there were appointed in an Indochina motif that I found comfortable and was well suited for its environment. Also on the island is the Vinpearl Luxury Resort with its 84 villas and 5-star service, as well as its newest property, the 995-room Vinpearl Resort and Spa Nha Trang Bay. Consistent with the rapid pace of change and growth that I kept seeing while in Vietnam, there was evidence of continued growth and expansion here as well, with new buildings and residences under construction near the arrivals area of the island. The comparisons to Disney World come from the additional attractions that exist on the island. Vin Wonders Nha Trang is an amusement park with 6 distinct areas and attractions, such as a giant Ferris wheel, a mountain coaster, water world, a safari park, and a zip line. Also at Vin Wonders at night is the Tata Laser Light Show, a 45-minute performance of dancing and theater set against a changing backdrop created by laser light. It was something that I really enjoyed watching. Also on Hon Tre Island is the Vinpearl Golf Nha Trang Resort Course, a 6,787-yard par 71 course designed by the IMG Group. I had a chance to play around on the course and I found it to have enough challenge to keep scratch golfers entertained, but as a true resort course, its wide fairways, generous greens, and amazing vistas were well suited for even someone like myself who now only manages to get in a couple of rounds a year. A true highlight for me was to have one of the course's all-female caddies guiding me through my round. Now, I relied on her knowledge of the course as well as her better aim than I was having that day on more than a few occasions during the round, and it really was an opportunity that I don't get to have when playing a recreational round back home to experience. Now, it was here on Hon Tre Island that journalists would get a chance to drive the first Vinfast model to arrive in North America, the midsize VF8 crossover. It was a very non-typical way for auto scribes to get our first seat time in a new vehicle, since most automotive media launch events provide a full day or even 2 to experience the vehicle we're reviewing. Traveling halfway around the world for about 15 minutes of seat time is far from normal. And for those on the tour who are dedicated auto journalists, the entire program for them was probably way more than they expected or even wanted.
Let me see. I guess we're doing a turnaround, is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Turn around. Turn around.
What's the name of that song?
Oh, that's Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Total Eclipse of the Heart.
I'm an old guy.
Yeah.
Oh, turn around. Okay. You turn around. Okay. Turn around. Bright eyes. A lot of birds.
Yeah.
I was golfing this morning and a monkey tried to take my ball.
Really?
Yeah. Monkeys.
I personally would have liked more seat time as well, but none of this came as a surprise as we were told well in advance about how the program and the first drives would be handled. These were also pre-production units, and given how this is a debut vehicle for the brand, I can see some of the rationale behind the limited access. Now that said, I put together a separate video from my first drive as well as a walk around, so please check it out after watching this. Our final night of the tour featured a massive dinner out on the beach that included a series of speeches, high-end entertainment from some of Vietnam's top musicians and DJs, as well as a completely over-the-top fireworks finale that in retrospect was perhaps exactly what a tour like this needed to end with.
Welcome to Vietnam.
Everything about the final event was highly choreographed and staged with the sole purpose of putting a giant exclamation mark to the end of what was clearly a full-throttle attempt by the Vingroup to establish itself and its brands to North American journalists, influencers, and potential investors. This entire program was designed to draw eyes and attention to brand names that are largely unknown in North America but will soon be arriving and attempting to establish themselves. But it was also designed to showcase a country where any lingering perceptions of it in North America would be likely outdated and not representative of what the country has quickly emerged into. According to Vietnam's Ministry of Culture, Sport and Tourism, in 2020, about 172,000 Americans and just under 42,000 Canadians visited the country. This ranks 6th and 15th respectively in terms of countries with the most visitors to Vietnam. And while the logistics of traveling here are notable and not to be minimized, the upside to vacationing in Vietnam from what I've seen are significant. The Vinpearl Resorts I stayed in were surprisingly affordable, as prices started at less than $100 US a night in many instances. Many of the condo and apartment units built in the Vinhomes complexes that we toured are available for short to mid-term stays and are listed for rent on sites like Airbnb and VRBO. So there is clearly an eagerness to draw North American eyes and spending to this emerging power in the region.
My time here in Vietnam has been a huge eye-opener, and perhaps it has been for you as well. There's a lot of lingering old mindsets of this country out in North America that probably need to be thrown aside. This is a country in the midst of a remarkable, unprecedented change. It is aggressively trying to establish itself as an emerging economic power in the region. And from a visitor's perspective, from tourism, while there has always been interest in Vietnam from other countries in this side of the world, North Americans really have a lot to discover here, which you should. There is such stunning beauty here. There is so many great opportunities to explore thousand-year-old cities right next to areas that are just being built at a remarkable pace. The journalist in me, the
you know, the business person in me just is marveled at how fast the pace of change is happening here. This could not happen in North America, let's be honest. The collectivist mindset of Vietnamese people has been a part of their life. They are often, you know, accepting of the fact that sometimes when a singular voice speaks, and if it's something that needs to be done that they trust and believe in, they move fast. As the African proverb says, if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And they certainly want to go far in establishing themselves as a place to visit, as a place to be of strength. The Vingroup, as such a huge part of the overall GDP in this country, is leading something. And I've been impressed by the properties in their Vinpearl lineup, their ecosystems, and of course, Vinfast, which I have separate videos for on their electric cars. I really hope you've enjoyed this time that I spent here, and I certainly have enjoyed bringing it to you. And I would strongly recommend that if you are trying to think about visiting this part of the world, you have your typical traditional spots to visit in countries, but open up your minds to Vietnam. I certainly have this, and I'm so glad that I had the chance to visit here. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. And if you are subscribed, make sure you have rung the bell so that you're notified of every time I upload something new. That's it for now from beautiful Vietnam. I'm Eric Novak. Thanks for watching.